On the way to the palace, to request an imperial decree, I stopped Zhao Lian's carriage. He reined in his horse on the long street, an impatient look on his face. Isn't it just to request an imperial decree for a marriage? Do I have to go with you? I heard the crown prince is marrying a noblewoman. Yingying is crying terribly. I need to go comfort her. You go by yourself. I bit my lip and handed him the marriage proposal letter. My lord, would you like to take a look? With a bang, the marriage proposal letter was swept to the ground. He vaulted onto his horse, full of annoyance. Enough, Xiaoxiao. I didn't say I wouldn't marry you. Is there no end to this? The horse's hooves stepped over the marriage proposal letter. He didn't see it. The name on it wasn't his but the crown prince's. In front of the Hall of Mental Cultivation, the crown prince was also there. His Majesty wrote the imperial decree of marriage in front of us. Only because the Empress was out of the palace praying, the decree would take a few more days to come down. After leaving the palace, the crown prince pulled me aside, a hint of joy in his eyes. Zhao, you finally agreed to me. I frowned in thought, carefully opening my mouth. May I ask your highness, what rank do you plan to give Miss Xu in the future? He was slightly stunned. Yingying. Why would I give her a rank? I bit my lip. Xu Yingying, the junior sister of the crown prince and Zhao Lian. According to Zhao Lian, the crown prince and his junior sister had a very deep affection for each other, so much so that he didn't care about her orphan background, intending to overcome all difficulties and marry her as the crown princess, and Zhao Lian, willing to complete his junior sister and the crown prince, to be her strong backing. Such deep affection, moving to behold. Too bad. I'm not Xu Yingying, but the childhood sweetheart who has been thinking of Zhao Lian for over a decade. His fiancé with a verbal engagement. I closed my eyes, suppressing the bitterness in my heart. If your highness is interested in Miss Xu, you should also give her an identity. You can't just let her wander outside. The crown prince was greatly anxious, quickly straightened my body, seemingly very worried. Xiao, have you misunderstood something? I only treat her as a sister, and have no romantic intentions. Where did you hear these things from? I suddenly opened my eyes, meeting his dark pupils. His eyes were clear, not like he was lying. With a slight tug at my lips, I gave him a faint smile. So that is how it is. It was just someone being self-indulgent. The carriage did not return to the mansion, but detoured to Fenglin Garden. The eldest princess was hosting 100 flowers. She had invited me a long time ago. However, as soon as I entered the garden, my veiled hat was shot through by an arrow. Under everyone's gaze, my dark hair instantly scattered like a waterfall. Looking disheveled, I was taken to change clothes. Passing by the pavilion, I inadvertently caught sight of Xu Yingying, playing with a bow and arrow, sneering. Second senior brother. Is that your little childhood sweetheart? She is not much, is she? A familiar voice then rang out. She is just an ordinary maiden, quiet and uninteresting. Naturally, no match for your breathtaking beauty. The person speaking was indeed Zhao Lian. The woman seemed somewhat pleased, pursing her lips. Even though your childhood sweetheart is dull and boring, at least her status is noble, and she is fond of you. Just settle for marrying her. After all, I already have senior disciple brother, and I can't bear to see you grow old alone for my sake. Zhao Lian's eyes showed bitterness, his voice tinged with a hint of grievance and loneliness. Don't worry, junior disciple sister, I will marry her. I won't put you in a difficult position. As for you, senior disciple brother is the crown prince after all. Don't quarrel with him. At the low table, the woman propped her arm and pouted, playfully shaking Zhao Lian's arm. It is all because Crown Prince brother is too much. I'm following him without a title, and he actually wants to marry a noble lady for the throne. If he doesn't come and beg me this time, I won't pay attention to him. I didn't listen any further. Turning and leaving. More than a decade of childhood friendship, ultimately no match for a sudden arrival. The junior disciple sister. I ran into Zhao Lian as I was leaving. He looked a bit anxious. his voice filled with complaint. Why did it take so long to change? I took a step back, raising an eyebrow at him. What? Are you looking for me? Or did you find the assassin? He frowned, his eyes showing displeasure. Why are your words so unpleasant? It was just an accidental bump. How did it become an assassin? All right then. Where is the person who bumped into me? Have they been caught? He hesitated for a moment, then nodded. It's Yingying, the junior sister from Kangshan Mountain. She's used to joking around on the mountain. She heard we re-getting married, and wanted to see what you look like. There's no ill intent. How about I have her apologize to you? Would that be all right? I pondered for a moment, and considering the Grand Princess reputation, I ultimately didn't pursue it. It was still that low table, and Xu Yingying was sprawled on it, dozing off. She was covered in a dark blue cloak, which I recognized as Zhao Lian's at a glance. Hearing the commotion, she got up and rubbed her eyes, her gaze sweeping past me, and directly at Zhao Lian behind her, muttering, "Why are you so slow? Where's my roasted chicken?" Zhao Lian gave a wry smile, and pulled out an oiled paper package from his sleeve. Steam was rising from it, showing that the owner had hidden it very well. I watched his actions expressionlessly. He could bring a roasted chicken while looking for me. He must have been truly wronged. He carefully tore open the roasted chicken and handed it to her. Seeing her ravenously devour a piece, he then smiled dotingly. "All right, stop eating for now." As he spoke, he patted her shoulder intimately and nudged his chin towards me. "This is Xiaoxiao. You accidentally shot and ruined her veil just now. Why aren't you hurrying to offer a cup of apology?" Xu Yingying seemed to only just notice my presence. She took Zhao Lian's handkerchief, wiped her mouth, and then looked at me with a giggle. "Oh, sorry, Miss Mu. I forgot you sheltered. Ladies don't know martial arts, and could be scared like this just by shooting a veiled hat. It is truly my fault. Actually, you can totally relax. My archery is very accurate. I absolutely won't hurt you." After speaking, she personally poured a glass of alcohol and handed it to me. Zhao Lian also looked over, watching me hopefully. "All right, Xiaoxiao. For my sake, don't bicker with her." I frowned and took a small sip. A sharp, fiery taste stung my throat, like it was on fire, making me cough rapidly. I heard Xu Yingying's surprised chuckle from beside me. "Oops, how did I forget again? That you sheltered young ladies can't drink such strong fei xiao daozi fei. It is all because I grabbed it without thinking. After quite a while, I stopped coughing. I just wasn't paying attention when I choked. This alcohol isn't undrinkable after all. But the person opposite me might not agree." I smiled, then tilted my head back again, and drank it all in one gulp, feeling the sharp pungency entering my mouth. I looked up, watching her with a smile. "All right, it is your turn next, Miss Xu." She stared at me, dumbfounded, her face alternating between red and white. And finally, as if in a huff, she picked up the cup and poured it down her throat. Sure enough, the alcohol barely entered her throat before she choked, her tears and snot streaming down, looking utterly pathetic. I watched her silently, my expression mocking. Why trouble others with something you're not good at yourself? For a while, her tears still wouldn't stop. She kept hiccuping, glaring at me resentfully, her hands clenched into fists, desperately pounding Zhao Lian. I knew it. "Hiccup, your fiancé doesn't like me at all. He is deliberately targeting me." Hiccup. Zhao Lian lovingly wiped away her tears and patted her back, glaring at me furiously. "Xiaoxiao, what are you doing? Yingjing kindly came to apologize to you, and this is how you treat her. I never knew before that you had such a venomous heart." I scoffed. When a person's heart is blind, everything they see is blind. For several days, Zhao Lian didn't come to see me, and even the things I sent over were returned by the servants. Untouched, I helplessly asked the servant who brought the items back. "Did he look at them?" "No. The Marquis' residence heard that Miss sent them, and had me bring them back without even touching them." After speaking, He looked hesitant and whispered, "Miss, perhaps you shouldn't send anything for now." The gatekeeper over there spoke very harshly, saying that Miss angered the young master, and now is eagerly trying to please him. And the young master is utterly fed up or something. I sighed and silently had the maid take the box away. Inside the box were all the items Zhao Lian had once given me. I merely feeling restless, I made an appointment with a few friends to go outing. In the afternoon, we strolled through Sibao Alley for several hours, not returning home until dusk. Unexpectedly, as soon as I entered the flower hall, I ran into an uninvited guest. Xu Yingying, dressed in a light green gown, sat beside my mother, chatting and laughing with her. Seeing me enter, she helped mother stand up, smiling sweetly. "Sister Xiao is here. We were just talking about you." Her familiar demeanor made it seem as if she were the eldest daughter of the Duke's mansion. As she moved, the golden light of the hairpin in her hair glittered. My gaze darkened slightly. This was clearly the one I had given to Zhao Lian. I stepped forward, abruptly pulled off her hairpin, and slammed it onto the table, suppressing my anger. "Who allowed you to come?" she shrieked, and quickly hid behind mother. "Sister, what are you doing, mother? Save me." A shiver went through me, and I said sharply, "What do you call her?" My mother, while comforting her, looked at me in confusion. "What is going on? Didn't you say you wanted to recognize Yingying as your sworn sister, to raise her status, so she wouldn't look shabby when marrying the crown prince?" I trembled all over, as if struck by lightning, because the emperor had said that the imperial decree of marriage had to wait for the empress to return. I hadn't discussed the arranged marriage with my family. After a long while, I heard my own voice raised in pitch. "Who? When did I ever say that?" My mother was anxious, and quickly pulled me aside. "Of course it is Lian. He specially sent her over, saying it was your idea, and even hinted that we should take good care of Miss Xu, saying she has a great destiny. You've always held Lian in high regard, and Miss Xu is even wearing your golden phoenix hairpin." Burning rage surged in my chest, almost solidifying and completely consuming me. It was Zhao Lian. He had asked for this golden phoenix hairpin the day he came down from the mountain and returned home, saying that seeing the hairpin was like seeing the person. So from the moment he came down the mountain, he had already started paving the way and scheming for his beloved junior sister. Xu Yingying was an orphan. With her status, she wouldn't even be fit to be a concubine for the crown prince. Yet she still deluded herself into wanting to be the crown princess. Zhao Lian, trying every possible way to give her the status of a noble daughter, actually dared to set his sights on me. On the Duke of Dingguo's manor. He should take a look. Is she even worthy? I took a deep breath and roughly explained the whole story to my mother. My mother said, slightly worried, "It is all mother's fault for not asking you more. I was only thinking that you valued the heir, afraid he would be displeased and blame you." My heart felt a pang of bitterness. It was always I who had desperately wanted to marry Zhao Lian, and because of that, my parents had to suffer grievances with me. But the person has been brought in to drive her out. There must be a reason. My eyes narrowed slightly, and an inscrutable smile appeared. "Mother doesn't need to be troubled. Who says we have to drive her out? I have a way." Early the next morning, as dawn just broke, I was just about to leave when I ran head-on into young Master Zhao, who was rushing over. Seeing me, his eyes lit up. He shook the golden bow in his left hand and raised an eyebrow at me. "Yingying, I was just about to take them to her. Which courtyard is she staying in? Quickly, take me to see her." I looked at him, my eyes full of mockery. "Is there nothing young Master Zhao needs to explain to me?" He paused slightly, then impatiently waved his hand. "What is there to explain? If you can't even handle such a small matter, what face will you have to marry me and become the mistress of the Marquis's residence in the future?" I sneered and hurried away. If he wants to see her, then let him see her. All the way there, he was still muttering, "Yingying is the future crown princess. You should treat her with respect usually. Don't restrain her with those rules from the Duke's residence. Once she takes charge of the central palace in the future, your Duke's residence will surely benefit greatly. Wait. Why does this look like a place where servants live? I paid no mind, and pushed open the door. In the messy courtyard, a girl dressed as a maidservant was rolling up her sleeves, tearfully pounding clothes. Behind her stood a big, burly old woman. Hearing the door open, the girl turned around, revealing a wronged, flushed face. Zhao Lian was stunned for a moment, then abruptly turned to look at me, his face instantly turning ashen. Xiaoxiao, you actually dared to make her a maidservant. Xu Yingying looked as if she'd seen a savior, dropped the mallet and threw herself into his arms. Sobbing, Zhao Lian hugged her, his heart aching. Silly girl, you were just so obedient. Woo-woo. Their family even has a granny who knows martial arts. They bullied me. I absolutely must have Crown Prince brother execute their entire clan. Zhao Lian stared intently at me, consumed by rage. Mu Xiao, how audacious of you to actually dare to feign compliance. Our Zhao family cannot tolerate a venomous woman like you, who acts on her own accord. Don't even think I'll marry you again. After saying that, he pulled the person and stormed out. On the other hand, Xu Yingying, though crying terribly, didn't move her feet, looking at me then at Zhao Lian, her gaze shifting. It was as if she had something private to tell him. I shrugged, moving a little further away. After a good while, Zhao Lian finally came out, his hands behind his back, looking at me as if bestowing a favor. Since Yingying pleaded for you, then so be it. Yingying is the future crown princess. Even if you're jealous, there should be a limit. When His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, comes to pick up Yingying, how do you plan to explain yourself? After speaking, he flicked his sleeves and left. I took a deep look at Xu Yingying, who was silently continuing to wash clothes, and didn't linger either. In the main courtyard, my mother was calculating my dowry. Seeing me enter, she hastily pulled me over to look at the dowry list. Xiao, come quick. Is there anything you want to add? The Emperor granting marriage is such a big deal. Why didn't you say anything sooner? Marrying into the East Palace is not like the Marquis's residence. You need to be more careful. I sighed. The imperial edict hasn't come down yet. Mum, don't spread the word. She nodded, her face unable to hide her joy. I told your father yesterday, and he was overjoyed. My father is the Crown Prince's mentor, and he always hoped I would marry the Crown Prince. Unfortunately, I was completely devoted to Zhao Lian, and I woke up too late. I couldn't help but smile bitterly. My mother seemed to sense something, and looked at me worriedly. Xiao, have you truly let go of that boy from the Zhao family? If you don't want to enter the palace before the imperial edict comes down, I'll risk losing face to stop the marriage for you. My throat choked up, and I gently hugged her. Don't worry, Mom. I'm willing. After returning to my room, Granny Zheng was already waiting for me. I half lay on the imperial concubine's couch, casually pouring tea. The old woman in front of me looked respectful, completely unlike her arrogant and aggressive demeanor in front of Xu Yingying. Miss Xu said to tell young Master Zhao that the Crown Prince wants her to find a way to stay in the Duke's residence, and also said he would arrange an identity for her, so he could marry her as his wife. Seeing my expression unchanged, she lowered her head again, hesitated for a moment, then gritted her teeth. This servant also discovered something. She seems to be pregnant. Bang! Teacup was heavily placed on the table. My eyes were dark, and I said nothing. Granny Zheng broke out in a cold sweat, hesitatingly comforting. Miss, don't panic. What this servant saw might not be accurate. Does she know herself? She probably doesn't know yet. I waved my hand, motioning for. Not until the person had walked far away did Chuju look at me worriedly. Miss, how could she be pregnant? I let out a scoff. It is the Crown Prince's. I tiredly rubbed my temples. Although everything was expected, personally confirming it was, after all, not a pleasant thing. If there were no entanglements of love and hate, how could Xu Yingying and Zhao Lian be so confident? Whether it was affection between fellow disciples, or love between a man and a woman, I already had the answer in my heart. It is just that the emperor's health was not as good as before, and the third prince had married the legitimate daughter of the general who guards the nation, so the crown prince didn't dare to gamble his love for the throne. He needed the assistance of the Duke of Dingguo's estate, and I also needed the revered position of Empress. There is nothing wrong with each getting what they need. It is just, why pretend your heart belongs to me? Why deceive me? Qiuju took over massaging my hair, sighing. Then, miss, are you still marrying His Royal Highness the Crown Prince? I closed my eyes, slowly relaxing. Marry? Why not marry? Neither Zhao Lian nor the Crown Prince is a good match for me. Since that is the case, why not ascend to that highest position? Live for myself. Live for the Dingguo Duke's estate. Ever since Zhao Lian stopped coming to find me, the Duke's estate has been much quieter. Even Xu Yingying is washing clothes with peace of mind, no longer crying, as if resigned to being a maid in the Duke's estate, until the rumors spread in the market. Now everyone outside is saying that Xu Yingying is not only His Royal Highness the Crown Prince's junior sister, but also the Duke's estate's young lady, who was lost outside, and they also say that His Royal Highness the Crown Prince intends to marry her as the Crown Princess, which is why the Duke brought her back to the estate. Qiuju grumbled indignantly, furious. These rumors are truly malicious, implicating both the master and the Crown Prince. If the Crown Prince doesn't act, the master can't easily refute them. What can be done about this? I stirred the floating leaves in my tea, my expression indifferent. No matter. When the imperial decree comes down, they will naturally shut up. I wonder why Xu Yingying is so certain that her Crown Prince brother will choose love. These rumors already show that there are many hidden things between the two of them. The rumors intensified, even bringing up some stories about the Crown Prince and his junior sister learning arts in Kangshan. Among them, some people mentioned Zhao Lian, the deeply devoted young master, who admired the junior sister and silently protected her until 3 days later, the Emperor and Empress returned to the palace. It is said that the Emperor was overjoyed and issued several marriage decrees in a row. One of them was for His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. Xu Yingying, who hadn't left her room for several days, ran to the main courtyard early in the morning to wait, her expression anxious. Zhao Lian also arrived early, his eyes a mix of bitterness and joy. Yingying, you're finally getting what you wished for. Xu Yingying feigned for a long time, finally regaining her usual smugness, and glanced at me disdainfully. Second senior brother, don't worry, once I become the Crown Princess, I'll bestow marriages upon you all. It is just that for a princess consort like this, second senior brother, I'm afraid you'll have to discipline her well. I ignored the two of them, and walked straight out. The one proclaiming the imperial decree was the Crown Prince. His figure was like jade, gentle and elegant. Seeing Xu Yingying there, he paused slightly, a hint of discomfort flashing in his eyes. When his gaze fell upon me, it carried a touch of tenderness. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Xu Yingying shyly lower her head. My lips curved into a smile, composed and modest. I suddenly wanted to know what the Crown Prince would feel, bestowing a marriage upon me in front of his beloved. By the grace of heaven, the Emperor decrees. Mu Xiaoxiao, the legitimate daughter of Duke Dingguo, is skilled and generous, gentle and honest, with outstanding character and appearance. We are deeply pleased to hear of this. Therefore, we bestow her in marriage to the Crown Prince, with the wedding to be held on an auspicious day. It was me without a doubt. However, someone didn't think so. As soon as the eunuch proclaiming the decree finished speaking, Xu Ying's face instantly turned pale. She swayed, then suddenly lunged forward and grabbed the Crown Prince. Who is it, Your Highness? Tell me who you're marrying. You tricked me. You tricked me. You still married a noble lady. Li Chengyi pushed her away, his smile fading a little. Junior sister, I only have brother-sister affection for you. How can you falsely accuse me like this? If I did anything before that caused you to misunderstand, I apologize to you. After speaking, he looked at me with deep affection. You must not be naughty again, and cause a rift between me and my fiancé. Xu Ying's face turned ashen, and she almost fell. Luckily, Zhao Lian promptly supported her from behind. I pretended to be surprised, scrutinizing them, and kindly reminded, Your Highness. After all, it is a matter of the sect. Why not take Miss Xu as a concubine? Zhao Lian suddenly turned his head and glared at me angrily. Xiaoxiao, how dare you humiliate her like this? The crown prince's expression darkened, and he spoke in a light but firm tone. Young Master Zhao, do not be rude to my crown princess. Then he looked at me again, his voice softening a bit. No need. Xiao junior sister and I have no romantic feelings for each other. Xu Yingying finally couldn't hold back anymore, rolled her eyes, and fainted. Li Chengyi stayed with me for a while longer, before leaving, expressing his desire to move the wedding forward. I nodded slightly. I heard my father mention that the Emperor's health was getting worse, and the third prince, the crown prince, was probably anxious. Around the corner, I was stopped by Zhao Lian. His eyes were bloodshot, staring at me fiercely. Xiaoxiao, what did you do? Why did you steal Yingying's position as crown princess? Didn't you always want to marry me? Or are you saying, this is yet another one of your jealous schemes? This is a bit too much. He looked furious, his gaze like arrows, practically shooting a hole through me. For a moment, I couldn't tell if he was more heartbroken for Xu Yingying, or more mortified and angry that I wouldn't marry him. I scoffed and waved at a servant not far away. Soon, a rosewood chest was carried over. Zhao Lian paused, his eyes lighting up as if remembering something, a hint of arrogance in his brows. I know you've sent me gifts several times to apologize, and I haven't accepted them. How about this? You go tell His Highness that you don't want to be the crown princess, and that you only want to marry me. Then I'll accept these things and forgive you. How about it? I was practically laughing with anger. Where did this man get such audacity? I kicked the rosewood chest, and the heavy lid sprang open with a thud. A faint sneer played on my lips. Zhao Shizi, would you like to take a look and see what is actually inside this chest? He impatiently leaned in to look. With just one glance his entire body froze, his face turning ashen. Xiaoxiao, you actually wanted to sever ties with me so long ago. How dare you? His face flushed crimson, and he abruptly took a step back, staring at me in disbelief, trembling with rage. It was as if he was only now finally realizing that the jealousy was fake, and not wanting to marry him was the truth. Shame and indescribable loss mixed together, almost drowning him. I half closed my eyes, and spoke softly with a deeper meaning. The matter of the crown princess is a foregone conclusion. The young master has been infatuated with Miss Xu for many years. Has he never considered anything else? He froze, and instinctively retorted, What do you mean? I tilted my head slightly, and whispered seductively, Miss Xu is heartbroken right now. Since the young master adores her, why doesn't he marry her himself? His brows suddenly furrowed, lost in thought. It was time for him to think. She is just an orphaned girl. Why can the crown prince marry her? But he can't. Zhao Lian truly did not disappoint my expectations. Within half a day, the news that he was fooling around with a disheveled Xu Yingying in a room spread throughout the entire residence. She had been abandoned by the crown prince. No longer a treasure everyone vied for. She wasn't some high-ranking woman. Why couldn't he have her? Zhao Lian was a man, and men always have their flaws. What others snatch always seems good, but what others discard always carries a hint of cheapness. Facing the woman he loved, a woman who was crying heartbroken in his arms, it was normal for him to lose control. However, he truly adored her, and was willing to marry her and take responsibility for her. He was already an excellent man, without even needing to think. I could guess Zhao Lian's thoughts after Xu Yingying sobered up. she cried bitterly. As I expected, she eventually agreed to the marriage. After dinner, her eyes were still red, and seeing me, she still hated me terribly. You agreed to let me marry as the Duke's mansion's young mistress, wasn't it just to get rid of me sooner? You're scared, aren't you? You're scared that Crown Prince brother has me in his heart. Scared that your position as Crown Princess isn't stable. You win. I agree to marry Zhao Lian. I want Li Chengyi to regret it for the rest of his life. I want him to regret it forever. Since he lied to me, he must bear the price of losing me. I held out the tea. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. See, the thinking of someone in a love-struck daze is just that simple. Zhao Lian's wedding date was set for the same day as the Crown Prince's and mine. This was Xu Yingjing's demand. I didn't care. Let her stir up whatever she wanted. A phoenix coronet and robes. A candlelight wedding night. The Crown Prince lifted the bridal veil, gazing at me with a beaming smile. Xiaoxiao, I've finally married you. To anyone watching, he looked like a shy groom, whose wish had finally come true. Too bad. He was utterly hypocritical and nauseating. I wore a smile on my face, also radiating infinite shyness. The wedding candles burned, the red curtains swayed, to be in the same bed but dream different dreams. That was all there was to it. In the middle of the night, I had a nightmare. In the dream, in my 3rd year as Empress, I was poisoned to death by Li Chengyi with a cup of poisoned wine, and he, embracing Xu Yingying, stood before me with a look of bitter hatred. It is all your fault that I wronged Yingying for so many years. And you even hypocritically made me take Yingying as a concubine. What a joke. My Yingying will only be Empress. Lately, I've been having this dream just like before. I kept dreaming. I married Zhao Lian, and was neglected, and grew old alone. The latter, I avoided. The former, I will absolutely not let it come true. Li Chengyi was woken up by me, and gently put clothes on me. What is wrong? Xiaoxiao. Did you have a nightmare? His gentle face overlapped with the menacing face in my dream. I suppressed the turmoil in my heart, and responded with a smile. It is nothing. I wonder, when you find out Xu Yingying is married, can you still marry her as Empress without any reservations? He sighed, and pulled me into his arms. It must be that I haven't done well, which made Xiaoxiao have a nightmare. I smiled and shook my head. Your Highness treats me better than anyone could. What more could I be dissatisfied with? He paused for a moment, as if remembering something, and spoke hesitantly. Xiaoxiao, junior sister and I are still master and disciple siblings, after all. It is just a pity. Her status is a bit low. Why don't we have the Duke recognize her as an adopted daughter? Then, in the future, I can find a good husband for her to marry, which would also be a fair return for her sincerity. What do you think? The fox's tail is finally showing. Having her recognized as an adopted daughter is for her to replace my identity later, isn't it? I smiled and nodded. Why would your Highness need to worry about such things? Today we get married, and isn't it also Miss Xu's big day? He instantly froze. Her big day with whom? Naturally, with Zhao Lian, young Master Zhao. The young master has admired her for a long time, and finally got what he wished for. He was shocked. How is that possible? Didn't Prince Zhao say he was marrying the cousin from your manor? Miss Xu is the cousin. His Highness and I thought of the same thing. Since she is His Highness's junior sister, and Miss Xu is getting married, we should give her a proper identity, shouldn't we? Your Highness, don't you think your concubine's thoughtfulness is thorough? The breathing behind me grew heavier. After a long while, I heard a voice that was almost grinding teeth. It is very thorough. The next morning, the Crown Prince and I entered the palace to pay our respects. In the Imperial Garden, we happened to encounter Zhao Lian, bringing Xu Yingying to pay respects to the Empress Dowager. 8 eyes met, and everyone's eyes, except mine, were red. The joy on Zhao Lian's face vanished abruptly when he saw the Crown Prince and me holding hands tightly. The Crown Prince's eyes held a smile, but underneath, Countless waves surged. He stared at Xu Ying with pursed lips, saying nothing, his grip on my hand tightening in waves. Xu Ying also looked at him, stubbornly biting her lower lip, on the verge of tears, and wanting to speak, but holding back. Finally, letting out a soft hum, and turning her head away. Seeing the expressions of the two, his face turned even greener, with a tendency to spread to the top of his head. After paying respects, the Empress kept the Crown Prince alone for a private conversation. I, having nothing to do, wandered around, in a corner of the back mountain. "Why are you marrying Zhao Lian?" It was the Crown Prince. I hesitated for a moment, then hid myself. "I asked Mother to help distract Xiaoxiao just to find you. Is this how you treat me?" Xu Yingyi's voice was tearful. "You lied to me. You told me to enter the Duke's mansion, yet you still married Mu Xiaoxiao. Since you could lie to me, why can't I marry someone else?" The Crown Prince paced with his hands behind his back, his anger suppressed. "I told you to go to the Duke's mansion, so you could replace Mu Xiaoxiao later, but you, out of nowhere, messed things up in the rumors, and ruined my plan. I finally managed to get Mu Xiaoxiao to persuade her father to adopt you, and then immediately heard the news that you married Zhao Lian. How can there be someone as stupid as you?" Xu Yingying froze, crying even harder. "You call me stupid? Woo woo. It is not my fault. It is you who insisted on marrying a noblewoman. And now you blame me." After a while, the Crown Prince sighed, pulled her into his arms, and gently patted her. "All right, don't cry anymore. I had no choice. I truly didn't dare to gamble with the throne. Not telling you the truth was also because I was afraid you couldn't bear it. I really didn't expect you to marry someone else. But it is all right. Young Master Zhao has always listened to you. You can deal with him for a while, and once I secure the throne, I'll find a way to bring you into the palace. Don't worry, the Empress's position can only be yours." His words were sincere, moving Xu Yingying greatly, and she hugged him, weeping loudly. On the way back to the mansion, the Crown Prince was in a very good mood. He was tender and sweet with me, talking eloquently, very thoughtful. Indeed, with both the country and beautiful women in his hands, how could he not be pleased? Li Chengyi's idea was correct. From the moment he married me, the Duke of Dingguo's chips were all placed on the Crown Prince. My dad, if he didn't act, that was it. But once he acted, it would surely be a big move. The third prince's faction quickly fell apart. At the Duke of Dingguo's mansion, the Fuyi Fei Weifei examined my pulse. 3 pairs of eyes stared at him in unison. The old imperial physician lightly coughed and stroked his beard. "Crown Princess, you are indeed pregnant." My dad smiled, his eyes disappearing. "Good, very good. Since that scoundrel Li Chengyi dared to betray you, killing the father and keeping the child, and supporting my grandson to ascend the throne, wouldn't be out of the question. If a tiger doesn't show its might, everyone thinks it is a sick cat. How dare he even spread rumors about me? If you hadn't stopped me back then, I would have shown them already. All for nothing. Your mum kept hitting and punching me. On young Master Zhao's side, things have also been quite. I heard Xu Yingying is pregnant. Already 2 months along. This is awkward. The young master's wife has only been married for just over a month. How could she be 2 months pregnant? Zhao Lian gritted his teeth and admitted it was his child. He secretly tried to get rid of the child, but Xu Yingying cried and refused. The Crown Prince's side, due to considering the Duke's mansion at such a critical moment, also dared not speak up. Let Zhao Lian and Xu Yingying cause a huge commotion. I told the Crown Prince as if it were a joke. Anyway, it is his flesh and blood, just born a month early. I don't know what the young master is making a fuss about. He wouldn't suspect the child isn't his, right? Li Chengyi's eyes flickered, his smile forced. How could that be? Junior sister has always been self-respecting. It must be the young master overthinking. It was at this very moment that the funeral bell tolled. The Crown Prince's spirit was roused, and he rushed to the palace without delay. I looked at the darkening sky, silent, The emperor has passed away. Things are about to change. All the noble ladies entered the palace to mourn, including the young master's wife, Xu Ying. The crown prince cried several times, looking severely haggard, yet he seemed entirely focused and invigorated. I had guessed about Xu Yingying's predicament, so when she came to me covered in blood, I wasn't surprised. She was completely dazed, acting like a madwoman. He is an asshole. You'll regret marrying him. You'll regret it. He wants to kill our child. He actually tricked me into drinking abortion medicine. How could this happen? Why did this happen? He clearly said he would be good to me. Why did he lie to me again and again? Actually, there is no why. The moment the news about her pregnancy being the wrong month spread, she couldn't keep this child. Many people were openly and secretly speculating that her flesh and blood belonged to the crown prince, especially with the emperor's passing. The third prince's faction, still harboring malicious intent, wanted to use this matter to stir up trouble. The crown prince wasn't a fool. Since Zhao Lian couldn't do it, he had to come and do it himself. He just didn't expect Xu Yingying to be so fierce that in her resentment, she'd fight to the death. I injured his life root. Haha. Her face was pale, her smile manic, almost despairing. He killed my child. I'll make sure he is heirless for life. Haha. She was shot dead by random arrows, her crime being the murder of the crown prince. At this moment, Li Changyi was unconscious. He wondered if he would still feel a trace of heartache if he saw it. Zhao Lian took Xu Yingying's body away. His expression was dull, like a walking corpse. As he passed me, he gave me a deep look. Xiao, is this related to you? I looked at him. He gave a bleak smile. Never mind, saying this is meaningless. In the end, he failed her. And I failed you too. Li Changyi's injury was kept secret. A country cannot be without a monarch for a day, so he ascended the throne with his broken body. The third prince wasn't without his schemes, but luckily my father had prepared early, so the ascension went smoothly. Li Changyi held my hand, tears of gratitude streaming down. Xiao, I only have you now. Your child will be my crown prince in the future. As for Xu Yingying, he didn't even mention her. No matter how deep a man's feelings are, they become insignificant when his own interests are involved, especially since Xu Yingying caused him to lose his manhood. He hated her to death. The Marquis of Yong'an's residence was implicated and stripped of their title, and Zhao Lian was demoted to a commoner. Not long after, the secret guards reported that Zhao Lian, missing his deceased wife, had accidentally fallen into the water and died. I knew it was Li Changyi's doing. Without his life root, his temperament became unpredictable, and his methods grew increasingly ruthless and severe. He resented Xu Yingying, and he resented Zhao Lian even more. Naturally, he wouldn't let them live, like I won't let him live either. In June of the following year, I gave birth to a son. Li Changyi was overjoyed, and personally conferred him the title of Crown Prince, named Li Huan. He held Li Huan and laughed up at the sky. Xu Yingying, oh Xu Yingying, you want me to be without heirs? How could it be that easy? Even heaven is helping me. Haha. With that, his expression suddenly froze, his eyes became rigid, and his mouth drooped at the corner. Ruling news of the new emperor's stroke, due to overexcitement, instantly spread throughout the court and country. I handed the child to the wet nurse and gently tucked in Li Changyi's blanket. He could no longer speak, only gesturing with his hand, making incoherent sounds. The imperial physician came to take his pulse, saying only that his end was near. I sighed, crying even more sorrowfully. After everyone left, I leaned closer to Li Changyi's ear again. Your Majesty, there is something your concubine fears. If I don't tell you now, there won't be another chance. Huan, he is not your flesh and blood. It is also your concubine's fault. I wanted a child too much, so I ended up sleeping with 9 princes, one after another. Li Changyi's eyes were bloodshot, and he trembled, unable to speak. Is your Majesty trying to ask whose child it is? Exactly. Your concubine can't explain it clearly either. All 9 princes have their charms. And speaking of it, your Majesty, You might be one of them too. There is a 1 in 10 chance. I covered my mouth, smiling. But not smiling. He finally couldn't hold it in anymore. His eyes rolled back, and he fainted. Though, in July of that year, the new emperor passed away. Crown Prince Li Huan ascended the throne. And Empress Dowager Mu Xiaoxiao ruled from behind a screen. From then on, there were no more nightmares every night.